What's up, y'all? So I did try the whole the audience thing, which I did love having an audience, but I can't get through all my stories because I just end up talking. And yeah. Yeah. And I'm extremely tired. So what's new? What's new? Went to the gym today and worked out. I have a microphone, so I'm probably louder. And I was like, I need to use my microphone more because I know I'm tired. And so my voice is not carrying. And then I got this music. And, even though you guys have to deal with me being tired, it's no reason for you not to be able to hear me being tired. No, but I just went to the gym, had some people come over and inspect my house for these potential buyers. Found out last night that my dog is a traitor, which I already knew she was a traitor. But, when my husband has been off on Mondays, and so my husband told me that when I leave to work, she dances around. And I think that's really messed up. Because when I go to work, I put her away because she got to go to bed. So I don't know if she's like celebrating like, oh, the witch is gone, which is messed up because like, I'm your mother, you know what I'm saying? And then even the fact that my husband rubbing it in my face, I didn't think that was too cool. So I also have like another reason why I wanted to do solo dolo for you guys is I have like a lot of story time that I haven't been doing because, and I love talking to guests, absolutely. And I will do that more as well because those are interesting as well. But I have like so many story times that I haven't done because I be running my mouth to the people that come in my TikTok lives. So yeah. So let's get into the news. So it was a few things I saw that I wanted to talk about that I did glance at. I guess the Nuggets won tonight, or Phoenix, somebody, I don't know. I don't know who won yet. Let's see. Elizabeth Holmes, a little scammer lady that scammed people with the fake blood with Walgreens and CVS. She loses her bid to avoid prison and gets hit with a $452 million restitution bill. But when is she going to prison? Because she's still not turned herself in. This is what she was supposed to be doing. She still hasn't. And I'm like, what's up with that? Yeah. I'm just looking at this. The family that fought over Lisa Marie Presley's trust, which essentially controls Elvis Presley's estate, has been decided out of court. So they're not going to say what it is, but they did settle. More than 200,000 Jeep Cherokees have been recalled since they catch fire. I am not a Jeep fan, man. The wiring in that is trash, so buyer beware, dude. I will never buy another one of them. A teen has been identified as a shooter who killed 3 people before responding to officers who fatally shot him in New Mexico. Man, lots of murder and mayhem per usual. Somebody in Yellowstone National Park was found dead. And still trying to expel George Santos. An Illinois girl whose disappearance was featured on Netflix Unsolved Mystery has been found alive in North Carolina 6 years after she was allegedly abducted by her mother. So that's good news. Daniel Cameron wins the Republican primary for Kentucky governor, becoming the first major party black gubernatorial nominee in the state's history, and setting up a November showdown with Andy Beshear. Yikes. That Daniel Cameron is the guy that did not, the whole Breonna Taylor thing. And I could see how he could end up, winning for Republicans, because he is no good. So Andrew Gillum, who went through a lot, they are dropping his charges. They are dropping all the charges that was against the dude. So he lucked up, dude, because they were coming after that dude. I don't know what he did or because they have this man on like all kind of charges, and they managed to drop him. So, he went from being the next, golden boy governor of Florida to taking him down. But the prosecutors dropped all charges against him. In 2018, he acquitted on one count. After a jury acquitted him, one count hung on the remaining charges that he pocketed campaign cash and illegally received gifts. Prosecutors initially said they would retry Gillum after a jury acquitted him on one count of lying to FBI, but failed to reach a verdict on 17 counts of wire fraud, wire conspiracy, and all that. However, on Monday, the prosecutor filed a one-page paragraph motion that asked the judge to dismiss the remaining charges. So, I don't know, man. But yeah, Andrew Gillum was raked over the coals, man. They had that dude in Florida, in Miami, in a beach hotel room back in 2020. He was a naked dude had overdosed on drugs in the room. He was too inebriated to talk. That's almost what I just sounded like. He didn't have clothes on himself. This man is married with kids. Yeah, it was all bad, but he managed to come out alive. I'm shocked. Like I said, I don't know what he did, but I don't know. Kanye West's wife is naked. Not shocking. He likes his women naked. Jeff Bezos and his boo are out on their $500 million yacht, as rich people should. Ben Affleck's new movie bombs in theaters. Yeah, that Air movie was so stupid. That's what they get. Patrick Mahomes' little baby brother Jackson appears in court in his aggravated sexual assault. Pretty much what he did was grab a lady and kiss her, allegedly, even though it's on film. And yeah, so he'll probably just get probation, but I'm glad that he's finally getting a wake-up call that he can't just go around doing whatever he wants. Britney Spears, Kevin Federline plans to move kids to Hawaii. Britney is not even Britney no more. She don't know what's going on. But pretty much he said that she shouldn't object, which she probably ain't, because like I said, she's not even herself anymore. So parents are furious over private schools' detailed sex education curriculum for fifth graders, complete with pictures. They're angry. Some are threatening to pull their kids out of school because of new mandatory sex education for fifth graders that teachers, among other things, teaches oral, anal sex, and masturbation with illustrations. Part of the new sex ed curriculum, which originated with the Unitarian Universal Church and is called Our Whole Lives, OWL, was formally announced to Wardrow's parents in March by the school. It includes a controversial book called It's Perfectly Normal that has been around since the early aughts, but which parents say was originally meant for older kids, but contains material too graphic for fifth graders. It made me physically nauseous, one mother told the Post. There's a whole page on contraception and vaginal and anal sex, more about how it's perfectly normal. This is clearly agenda pushing and outrageous. Yeah, I don't think that schools should be teaching anything but reading, writing, and arithmetic, the 3 R's. Leave that sex ed stuff to the parents, dude. Georgia parents arrested after starving their 10-year-old son. He runs away to beg for food. What's wrong with people, dude? Johnny Depp received a 7-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival despite backlash. Meghan Markle makes a royal entrance in gold as she's honored at a gala. I don't know why she was honored at a gala. Kappa Kappa creep. Wyoming sorority sisters live in fear of trans members who silently stares at them while visibly aroused. What the heck, man? A group of sorority sisters who are suing the University of Wyoming for accepting transgender women into their group have broken cover to describe how they live in constant fear in our home after hulking students has become physically aroused around them. The 7 women from Kappa Kappa Gamma House have filed a lawsuit against the university, and Artemis Lanford, 21, a 6'2", 260-pound trans student who joined their chapter in September 22. Langford, referred to under the male pseudonym Terry Smith in the suit, has been living outside the sorority house and was expected to move in the coming year. However, the student, who is referred to as he, him in the suit, still often stays for meals and attends events with the women. Their attorney told Megyn Kelly on her podcast, "It's weird, it's gut-wrenching feeling that every time I leave my room, there's possibly that I'll walk past him in the hall." And the sorority sister said, "It's weird feeling just to know that I can run into him anytime. He has full access to the house. But this just goes to show we need women's spaces for that reason. Like our house is our home, just like anyone else's home." Another student said the situation is particularly distressing because some of her sisters have been sexually assaulted or sexually harassed and want to feel safe in the home. So some girls live in constant fear. Yeah. That's wild. So I wonder how this lawsuit will go. Yeah. Yeah. This is a new world order we're in, man. Other than that, man, like I said, I have so much story time that I need to get to with you guys. I'll read you a few interesting Reddits that I saw. What don't you miss about being young? Oh man, I don't know. Because I'd give anything to be told to go to bed. What don't I miss about going? I don't miss riding the school bus. I'll say that. Let's see if anybody says something so traumatic. Not being in control of my own life, making my own choices, being shy, it was most debilitating. Obeying authority without question and being punished if I didn't. Homework, yeah. I definitely hate homework. Like, why? Having to financially depend on your parents. Yeah. Interesting. Let's see. I've seen something else. How do I tell my girlfriend without hurting her too much? Let's see. This was a long one, but I wanted to read it. So I'll get right to it. I've been in a relationship for 7 years. We're engaged and plan to get married next year. My girlfriend is one of my best friends, and I love her and want to spend my life with her. With that said, I have been finding it harder to feel physically attracted to her. We met online, and we got to know each other before meeting and going on a date. At the time, I was unaware of angles and lighting, so she presented herself in a certain way. She described herself as thick, and I'm definitely more attracted to curvier women. When we finally met in person, she was more than thick, but I gave it a shot because I try to be open to something different. She is a wonderful person with amazing soul. Over the years, I've encouraged her to lose weight, mostly for health reasons. We also want to have at least one child together. My concern was the health and safety of her child. I have a child from a previous relationship. My child almost died at birth, so I'm worried. Yada 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 yada. Number one, don't get married. That's number one. Number two, yeah, somebody said give her Ozempic, and she might not take it well. They're just saying don't waste her time if you don't really like her. Yeah, you just gonna have to rip the Band-Aid off, dude. Why does everyone ask where is the clit, but nobody asks how is the clit? When's the last time you heard from the clit was doing well? The more important, why is the clit? The clit is very important. Therefore, art thou clitoris? I think I speak for all my fellow lady lovers, regardless of gender, when I say that you don't need to know how it's doing if you know it's going to be doing fine when you're done. Yeah, the clit shouldn't be bothered until it's time for something, but it is nice to have. I will say that. Let's see what these men are talking about. What are things you shouldn't bring up ever during a hookup? Probably that you're married. Somebody said how much she reminds you of your sister. Was he rough with you though? That may mean he don't see you as the love of wife material, so you feel safe being rough. Marriage, past relationships, money. Avoid calling her by her name. Use the generic terms like baby or whatnot. Helps to avoid using the wrong name. Well, I mean, it is a hookup, so there's that. Let me get into this story time, y'all. My voice is raspy, and I just got so many, so let me get into this immediately. And the first one's going to be gross, so here you go.
I had a chick shit all on my dick, and I kept fucking her. I was in that ass, you know what I'm saying? And I was smelling, what is that? I looked down like, oh, shit. Someone it turned me on a little bit more. It turned me on a little bit more. I'm like, damn. And she was cool with it. I'm a dirty motherfucker, man.
Fucking the shit out of bitches.
Yeah, fucking the shit out of it. And then bitches be trying to, I tell them, man, come on, let me put my belly on that ass. Back it up. I gotta represent for the fat niggas, you know what I'm saying? We out here fucking bitches too, you know?
That is just nasty. Y'all better be getting y'all checkups, because these dudes is doing some nasty stuff out here.
Single ladies, all single ladies.
Is Quino simply the cutest? Obviously much older now, but with each passing day, her resemblance to Beyonce keeps getting out of this world. And why don't Beyonce want to have anything to do with her half-brother or sister for that matter? And why are people calling out Beyonce and Solange for not acknowledging their half-siblings? Do they really owe their father's children anything? And yeah, Matthew Knowles may have a major hand in cultivating the careers of two of today's most celebrated artists, Beyonce and Solange Knowles, but he also has a well-documented record of infidelity. Matthew and Tina Lawson actually separated in 2009, then Tina dropped the suit in 2010, only to refile the following year, stating conflict of personalities. One child that Matthew had out of wedlock in 2010 is Beyonce's half-sister, Coy, with Takoya Branscombe. Takoya, who was a dancer at the time, said Matthew treated her like the love of his life during their affair. However, that changed when he learned that she was pregnant with Coy, after which he left her. And he didn't just leave her, by the way. Matthew even had the audacity to deny the child was his.
You told Matthew Knowles that you were pregnant with his child. How did he react?
Very much. Well, you can't get pregnant by me. You know, it can't be my child.
But thank God we have paternity tests, because one proved that Coy was undoubtedly Matthew's daughter. And as much as the child is innocent and everything, the whole situation is just messed up and a source of pain for Tina, as well as Beyonce and Solange. Not to mention pretty embarrassing. Well, Takoya did admit to her role in the situation and expressed regret over the affair, telling Inside Edition, "Yes, I slept with a married man and it was the wrong thing to do. But I have a beautiful daughter that came out of the situation." And even with the legal battle with Matthew, Takoya was also hopeful that one day her daughter might meet Beyonce. She said, "Hey, they are half-sisters, so maybe one day down the line that will be possible." But here's the thing, Beyonce isn't necessarily excited about meeting her half-sister. Takoya even previously said that Beyonce wasn't interested in meeting Coy. But can anyone blame Bey, right? Like, their father really did Tina dirty, and they were sticking by their mother. In fact, when their parents remarried, both Beyonce and Solange were noticeably absent from their father's wedding, but both sisters were present when Tina married Richard Lawson in 2015. Well, Matthew tried to justify the absence of Solange and Beyonce from his wedding by saying, unfortunately, Beyonce and Solange had previous engagements, which made it impossible for them to attend. But you and I both know why they didn't attend their father's wedding, right? Something else interesting about Coy is that her mom was allegedly very good friends with Solange. Based on reports, Takoya met Solange through a hairstylist in 2008, and they apparently went out to clubs and bars together in Texas on numerous occasions. And Matthew knew that Takoya was friends with his daughter, and Solange apparently had no idea that the two were having an affair. It's the shadiness for me. Anyway, despite everything, Coy is actually carving out a niche for herself as a model, actress, and dancer under the management of an agency in Texas. And I can tell you for free that she sure has the Knowles talent running through her veins and the sassiness to go with it. Actually, a little like Beyonce.
Who's picking on you? I don't know why. Well, yeah, well, you're supposed to scare them off. I am? Yes, you don't know that?
And how I wish it was just one child out of wedlock that we were talking about here, but nope.
And Takoya was pregnant at the same time as Alexandra Wright. And this is all on it's a blurred line as to whether he was actually divorced from Tina or going through divorce.
Yep. Matthew also fathered a love child with Alexandra Wright, and he was also refusing to pay child support until Alexandra took him to court. At some point, it was actually so bad that Alexandra and her son Nixon had to live in a homeless shelter because she couldn't afford anything.
Now, let me tell you something about taking a picture crying next to a garbage dump. That is the most dramatic thing ever.
Anyway, just like Takoya, Alexandra also admitted her role in hurting Tina, Beyonce, and Solange in the process of having an affair with Matthew. Like, she even wrote an open letter saying, "It is with a heavy heart we must head back to Superior Court to continue to fight for the rights of my son, Nixon Knowles."
So, I personally don't think Beyonce is obligated to meet out of wedlock babies, because why? It's fine. Like, yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, I ain't putting my business out there, but I have a couple of those that I love you, bro, wherever you are. But, yeah, that's no obligation, man. Like, I didn't have the kids. Like, look me up, you know, if you want to. If I was in Beyonce status, like, I mean, I'm not obligated, but I wish you the best. Like, yeah, don't put that moral compass on her because her father was a Rolling Stone. Like, she got a whole mother and father still living. Like, she's not an orphan.
My wife and I formed the Association for Sexual Abuse Prevention. I advocate for people with pedophilia to get help before an offense. I believe that doing anything sexual with a child could be harmful, but I also recognize, and I think we need to be honest, that it does not always cause a child harm. The harm comes in various degrees. Actual sex is much more harmful than a casual touch. I believe that pedophilia is indeed a sexual orientation, meaning that it's innate, and there's no evidence that it can be cured. You can't pray the gay away, and neither can you get rid of pedophilia, but you don't have to act on it.
Well, 65-year-old Gary Gibson says he knew he was a pedophile but that he has chosen to never act on those urges. Gary says there, he swears that he never committed a harmful act on a child in his adult life. But today, one of Gary's former foster children, Jasmine, says that's not true. She says he raped her when she was just 10 years old. Take a look.
When I was 10 years old, I lived with Gary and Tabitha for 3 months. I was their foster daughter. On the surface, it seemed really nice. They were vegetarian, went to church all the time, but underneath, he was molesting me. We were removed because CPS had gotten a report that Gary had touched other little girls before. I didn't really remember anything had happened until a few years later. Around 11 or 12, I had spilt soup all over my legs. It burned, and it sent me into a panic attack. I looked up at my mom and said that I believed that Gary had raped me. The next day, my mom took me to the doctor, and the doctor was able to tell that I had been sexually abused at one point in time. I still have night terrors almost every night. For him to claim that everything that I remember is off of false memories is ridiculous. I didn't make this up. I believe that he wants everybody to look up to him and think that he is a saint when he's not. Gary speaking out about being a virtuous pedophile is disgusting. I want people to know what he did to me, that he's not who he says he is, and I want people to listen because I'm trying to save somebody else.
Sick.
Since billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein was arrested. So, why do we still know nothing about him? Well, we're finding out tonight some answers. The Wall Street Journal just got its hands on Jeffrey Epstein's private calendar, and it was a lot more suspicious than Brett Kavanaugh's. Epstein was meeting with the kind of people you'd think would steer clear of a convicted pedophile. Jeffrey Epstein was meeting with one of Barack Obama's top lawyers, Catherine Rumler. She met with Epstein dozens of times. Epstein even tried to set up Obama's lawyer to work for Bill Gates. How is Jeffrey Epstein a fixer between Obama's lawyer and Bill Gates? Epstein was also meeting with Joe Biden's CIA director. He wasn't CIA director at the time. He was Barack Obama's Deputy Secretary of State. William Burns was working for John Kerry at the State Department and meeting with Jeffrey Epstein, a known pedophile. And then Burns becomes CIA director. Today's director of the CIA went to Epstein's Manhattan townhouse where Epstein had sex with underage girls and, where he filmed other men having sex with underage girls. And William Burns went there and was then promoted to the director of the CIA. Now, I wonder if the future CIA director saw the portrait of Bill Clinton in a blue dress hanging in Epstein's parlor room. A few years later, Epstein was arrested and then hung himself in a jail cell while security cameras just happened to not be working and the replacement guards just happened to fall asleep. And 2 years later, Biden just happens to pick William Burns to run the CIA. So what are we supposed to think? It's never been more clear. Epstein was an intelligence asset. Not only was he working for the CIA, Israeli intelligence, maybe even Russia intelligence. So was the American government allowing an asset to traffic and molest teenage girls all over the world for intelligence? Were we allowing Epstein to commit crimes against children for blackmail material? Well, we asked the CIA director, William Burns, why were you meeting with a convicted pedophile at his disgusting townhouse? And the CIA director said this: the director did not know anything about him, other than that he was introduced as an expert in the financial services sector and offered general advice on transition to the private sector. They had no relationship. So Obama's State Department official couldn't have asked anybody else in the entire country for help with a job in finance? He could have called any CEO, any hedge fund manager, any banking director. But he meets with Jeffrey Epstein, a guy that doesn't even really have a real business, a guy that doesn't even have a website, a guy that, as far as we know, only had one client, the CEO of Victoria's Secret. That doesn't add up, Bernsey. And this explains the sweetheart deal back in 2006. This explains the prison cell cover-up. And this explains why all the Epstein tapes went missing. Everything Epstein recorded, everything. Missing. Every property he owned. But when he died, the Fed seized all the tapes, and the only person who's ever been arrested since then was the Madam Maxwell.
Jeffrey Epstein found me almost immediately. He knew exactly where I was, the location. And I knew then that I was being filmed. I was being watched 24/7. There were cameras all over the island.
So the CIA has all the sex tapes, and they've been blackmailing like crazy. This is the blackmail jackpot. Hours of video starring the world's most important people in Epstein Island, and the Manhattan townhouse, and the Palm Beach estate, and the New Mexico ranch. Bill Clinton was good pals with Jeffrey. Flew on the Lolita Express 26 times. Went to his private island. So when someone does something that doesn't make any sense, maybe it's because they don't want to be doing what they're doing. Maybe it's because someone's telling them what to do and threatening to release the tapes if they don't. Now, I could think of a few people whose actions I can't explain, but it wouldn't be fair of me to name names.
I don't know, will we ever know? And that was brought to you by Fox News, but will we ever know what was up with that? It's so strange. It is so many twists and turns, and the appointed people of these CIA, FBI, this and that, like, where's the checks and balances in this? I don't know. I'm just a little peon.
IT Technology Review estimates that about 20 pregnancies of pig-human or sheep-human chimeras have been established during the last 12 months in the U.S.
Scientists have been combining human and animal DNA for decades, with many details being kept secretive. In the 1920s, an actual half-human, half-chimpanzee was bred by scientists at a facility in Florida by inseminating a female chimpanzee with human semen from an anonymous donor. The chimp then gave birth to the first healthy living human Z. Allegedly, rumors are that the hybrid was able to say a few words in English and grasp the use of objects around him or her quicker than a normal chimp. But due to immense moral and ethical complications, the creature was killed and the experiments were covered up. The same experiment was conducted in China in 1967 and 1981, with the official story being that the chimp females became pregnant, but the fetus died 3 months into pregnancy. Rumors and conspiracy theorists suggest that the experiment was successful and that there was a hybrid born who was taught to speak and communicate fluently.
Human Z. Hey, there's some of them walking around.
Y'all, of course, it's getting worse here in Florida. So today, Ron DeSantis officially signed in the DEI bill that I was speaking on in my previous video. Take a look.
The whole experiment with DEI is coming to an end in the state of Florida. We are eliminating the DEI programs. We are going to treat people as individuals. We're not going to treat people as members of groups.
Under this bill, state universities are barred from spending state or federal funds to promote, support, or maintain any programs that advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, or promote or engage in political or social activism. If you look at this chart here, you'll be able to see the universities that are affected under this bill because they're state universities. So in my last video, I said that Florida has HBCUs, FAMU, and the reason I specifically said FAM is because they are the only HBCU here in Florida that are affected by this, and that is a big deal. In addition, in his speech that he gave at the new college here in Florida, he had the nerve to say that DEI, which stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion across the country, has come to stand for discrimination, exclusion, and indoctrination. Like, what?
This has basically been used as a veneer to impose an ideological agenda, and that is wrong. And in fact, if you look at the way this has actually been implemented across the country, DEI is better viewed as standing for discrimination, exclusion, and indoctrination, and that has no place in our public institutions.
Furthermore, he went on to say that students who are looking for this diversity and inclusion here in Florida should seek admissions elsewhere.
Some of these niche subjects like critical race theory, other types of DEI-infused courses and majors, Florida's getting out of that game. If want to do things like gender ideology, go to Berkeley. Go to some of these other places. That's fine.
That statement is particularly nasty when you consider that it costs more money for Floridians to go to school out of state, and two, Florida is currently the state with the worst learning gains in the nation. Why are you not addressing that? And how are you expecting students in your state with the worst learning gains to be able to adequately apply out of state if they want that type of instruction? Not only that, it's bad enough that they've already implemented their Don't Say Gay bill up into the 12th grade, but when you are going into college, you are entering adulthood, and who are you to tell an adult who wants to learn about diversity, gender, inclusion, that they cannot do that? I've already said it several times. This is the face of fascism, and don't think it's just about the LGBT. When they come for diversity, that means women's studies, black studies, any studies about people of color. It is not just about the LGBT. They don't like any of us, and they want to erase us. Like, share, follow, and comment how you feel.
You can't be erased, dude. I mean, he's being a little dramatic. I mean, DeSantis is putting down the hammer. And this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I'm not mad at it. I mean, if you are an adult person, you know more than likely everything we learned about history in school is fake and lies anyway. So you need to just go research it yourself. Teach yourself. Travel. Like, I think the best history is traveling and learning about life that way. I don't think that schools, especially, I'm still against elementary schools teaching history. Like, you can teach a person how to read a map, stuff like that, but don't get into the conspiracy theories of how the maps are all wrong and they're upside down. Like, there's just so much stuff that I've learned as an adult that I didn't learn as a child. So I'm not mad at none of this, honestly. And I just think, I don't know, we're going to see how popular DeSantis gets or unpopular.
For new images and videos. And sometimes when we serve a search warrant at the house, the person is sitting at a desk, right, with their computer, and they haven't gotten up in maybe a month. They literally will use buckets and jars to urinate and defecate because there's a likelihood if they get up to go use the restroom, they might miss the opportunity at an image that just popped up for a second or so.
They're searching for snapshots of kids posing, children in swimsuits, babies in diapers.
So just imagine that person is, a picture like that is gold to them. And they're waiting for someone to post it.
Pictures that most of us wouldn't think twice about. Like first day of school photos. They're looking for details like full names and a school's location.
I know your mom, this is her name. She told me to come pick you up.
Has that ever happened?
That's definitely happened, yes.
These innocent photos also work like a legal loophole because they're not child porn.
So we wouldn't be able to charge them for having that picture, but it's scary that they do have that picture.
Part of protecting children from pedophiles.
It's just safer to just not put your entire life on social media.
And it's really becoming like that for me. Like, I'm not on Facebook or nothing no more. And you know, as innocent as we love to post our children's pictures, just think twice, man, because it's some pervies out here.
So,
and I think because I still got like a ton of these for y'all beautiful people, but it's 40 minutes in and I've been having like the longest podcast this week, so you guys should be like really happy. We talked about poop, we talked about doo-doo bandits, we talked about all kind of things. Epstein. I mean, what more could you guys need or want from me at this point? I will be back tomorrow definitely to wrap this up with you beautiful people. Isn't in yet is gonna sign off so I can save my voice. You guys have an amazing night. Toodles.